Austin 316 says I just whipped your...
Stone Cold!
You sit there and call yourself the gorilla, yet you hee-haw out here like a jackass. What? I said shut up. You can kiss my ass.
Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya.
What? And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week is episode 65. No Mercy on Rikishi from October of the year 2000. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. JV, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, but not as good as Chuck Norris.
Oh, special day for him?
Yeah, he's fucking 80 today, March 10th, 1940. The great Chuck Norris was born, and today, in 2020, marks his 80th birthday, and I Googled him, and he actually looks the same.
Fucking
Looks
ridiculous.
the same as he did when he was like in Sidekicks.
Right, Sidekicks was probably, 1993, 92-ish, I would say.
Yeah.
And even to think that, 1992, that's 28 years ago? To think that he was in his, what was he, in his 50s then?
52.
Yeah, 52. I guess
I thought
50.
he was like 30.
Well,
he was in
he,
like his 30s then.
all right, here's
late
the thing with
30s,
Chuck
early
Norris
40s.
then. Chuck Norris has basically looked 52 since 1992.
Yeah.
Ever since Chuck Norris was on the scene for me, which was probably around 1992, 93 with Sidekicks. That's the first movie I really saw him in. I didn't see all the other real shit he did.
I
did see him in a lot of exercise videos throughout the 90s, too.
Oh,
like,
my dad made
the
us watch,
infomercials.
Delta Force.
Oh,
Missing
yeah.
in Action.
Okay.
He's in one of the Bruce Lee movies, Fist of Fury, maybe? Might even be I don't think it's Enter the Dragon, but I've seen all his fucking martial arts movies. Delta Force 2, Missing in Action 2. Forgetting some.
But that's
But,
fucking
yeah.
ridiculous that a man can continue to look the way he did and be in the shape too until he's 80. Until he's damn 80. Never mind the guy, the Psyches guy, who thinks he's this
Yeah.
fucking big hot shot. Chuck Norris is the fucking real one.
What was that good movie he was? Oh, Invasion USA or something like that.
Oh, that's kind of recent, right?
No, that's it's pretty sure it's from
Oh.
the late 80s, early 90s, maybe. The recent one would be he was in the Sylvester Stallone movies with fucking
Oh, with everybody.
Jason Statham, not the Incredibles, that's the fucking
Yeah, the
Disney
cartoon.
movie. Expendables.
Yeah, the
Expendables.
Yeah, Chuck Norris should actually be like the fucking Godfather character in that, where he's making all the calls. 'Cause he's the oldest fuck in the damn thing.
Yeah.
You would have thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was older than Chuck Norris.
Yeah, he's younger. That's right. No shit. So yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
happy
so-
birthday to the great Chuck Norris, who I don't
Yes.
think ever showed up on WWE, did he?
Yes, he did. Survivor Series. Survivor Series
that's right. He was in
94.
the crowd, right?
No, well, he was in the crowd for something, but then he was also the special enforcer during Yokozuna versus Undertaker in a casket match.
Oh,
Survivor
no
Series
shit.
94.
I forgot about that.
So
it
there's
all
the
comes
wrestling
full
connection.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it came down to me saying, "How you doing?" And we're not doing as good as Chuck Norris. Basically, is the bottom line.
Yeah, that's the bottom line today. It's the bottom line intro.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into this episode, we do want to remind you that we are on Twitter. We're at the Bottom Line Cast, and you can follow us personally. Like I said, I'm Mike Prue. I'm at MPRU83, and that's JV, and he's at John Van Damage. And also, we have the YouTube channel with most of our, well, we have all our chronological episodes available there, and some of our watch-alongs and more to come. And that's on the YouTube channel, and that is also at Bottom Line Cast. So check us out there. And last week, which wasn't actually a week ago, it was just this past Friday, where we released episode 64. I did it for The Rock. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the weekend, but the listens went spiking upwards this past week for that episode. So maybe more people are into listening to podcasts on the weekend when they're new rather than in the middle of the week. But hey, anyway, so thanks for listening for all of you that listen, and maybe you're checking out this next episode if you just joined into us for the first time with I Did It for The Rock. And this week we'll be continuing where we left off, which was when Rikishi said, I did it for The Rock, I did it for the people, and all that. So that's what we're going to be moving on to this week, and it's going to be building up to a match at the No Mercy pay-per-view. And we're going to build up to that right now and get to that match. And then we'll also have an Attitude Era update, like usual, at the end of this episode. So stay tuned for that. But let's begin. JV, you're all set to go? You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, so let's start first with SmackDown, episode 60 from October 12th, the year 2000. This is from Los Angeles, California, at the Staples Center, and it was taped on October 10th of the year 2000. And what we got here to start is Austin is pissed off, obviously, because now he knows who hit him. He's been waiting for so long. Now he finally knows the man that did it. And Austin actually wasn't present when Rikishi made the announcement that he did it because he was suspended. So that's a good thing to point out there, is that he's suspended and now he's back, because part of the suspension was you're suspended indefinitely until we find out who hit you. That's what Mick Foley told Austin. So now Austin is back because it's been revealed, and he's sitting in his truck backstage waiting for Rikishi. So I thought it would be a good thing to point out, because at first, my first thought was, why is he here? He's suspended. But then it's like, oh yeah, until it's revealed who it is. So Mick Foley revealed it, so that negates his suspension. And then we go now to an interview with The Rock, because The Rock is maybe not that happy with what happened with this reveal, and doesn't really like how Rikishi's saying, I did it for The Rock, I did it for the people. The Rock is the man right now because of me, because I hit Austin. So Rock's not too happy with that. So we're going to cover part of the interview. So let's get right into it. The Rock says he doesn't really know what to think about this whole situation. And JR is interviewing him. He asks him, what do you think about Rikishi saying he did it in the name of The Rock? And The Rock goes on to say it makes his stomach sick. Because all the things that he did prior to Survivor Series kind of negated. He's a multiple-time champion. It's like, dude, I was already a champion. I was already a bigger star than you would ever be. Like, why are you trying to help me?
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing.
So that was pretty weird. So from there, Rock says it's almost like Rikishi is just taking all my credit away, and it's just sickening. So JR goes on to ask The Rock about Rikishi saying, the WWF always has a great white hope. Rock even says that's bullshit. I mean, up to that point, I guess you can make the argument, but how many other superstars should be in that position? Now, you can't say, oh, Jimmy Snuka should have been the Hulk Hogan of the 1980s just because he jumped off a fucking steel cage.
Imagine that. I mean, hey, we're covering him right now in ECW, and
yeah, he's not that great.
Sucks. Not that good. He's totally overrated.
Right.
Would not go over today.
He would not be remembered if it wasn't for getting, like I think I said this last week, if it wasn't for getting hit with the coconut and jumping off a steel cage.
And murdering someone.
Well, yeah. Now he continued the legacy with that. All right, so The Rock says that's all a bunch of bullshit, the Great White Hope, and that many people have been given opportunities within his family, within his culture, and they all took advantage of it to the most they could, and he's just been the most successful of them at this point. So he thinks the race card is ridiculous. The Rock is sick that Rikishi would put doubt in people's mind. So that's one of the things that makes Rock really sick here is what he's saying is that people maybe are thinking that my success is kind of just given to me now because of maybe how poorly they treated others. So now they're giving me opportunities because other people didn't get opportunities, which may or may not actually be true when you think about it a little bit. Like maybe it's time, all right, we've helped this family out for so long. Let's try to go big with this guy. And obviously they did that because they saw something in him, but that could be in the back of Vince McMahon's mind that let's have a different type of star. I don't know.
No, I mean, I still don't think that. I just think that some of these other Samoans, whatever,
The Islanders, as
the Islanders, I don't think that they were as polarized. I don't want to say polarized, that's the word. I just don't think they were as over with the U.S. audience, which is who WWF is marketing at, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's their market, right. As The Rock ended up getting. I don't think they had the personality that The Rock had. Maybe it could have been the way, and I don't think back in the 80s and stuff that, I don't think at least WWF had as much control over characters because it was still like the fallout from the territorial days as they did in the 90s, where it's like, all right, you're going to be this guy, this is what you do because you work for us and you really can't go anywhere else unless you want to go to WCW.
That's true. A lot of the people that they got from the territories in the mid 80s to about like 87-ish, I would say they just accepted whatever their gimmick was and used them.
Right.
And then by like late 80s, 88, 89, that's when they started to take people in and say, nah, we're big now. Like once they get past WrestleMania 3 is where Vince McMahon finally feels comfortable with, I can do whatever I want now. And I'm going to change these gimmicks and make it my way. Whereas before he's just going off of, they were popular in a territory, so let's just use their name for now because people know who they are.
Right.
And then by 88, 89, it's like, fuck. They know who they are, but guess what? I'm changing them. So, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I think you're spot on with that.
But it could be a mix of both. I mean, The Rock kind of checked all the right boxes, and, maybe they had some, I don't know, white guilt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what he's playing. I mean, he's playing the race card.
Right, it is the race card.
Whether you agree or disagree with it, I mean, it's you got to call it what it is at that point.
Yeah.
And the WWE has been known to kind of. I like that they brought that up. The WWE has been all about the Great White Hope.
Right, and they actually acknowledge that maybe people do think of this of us, so let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
And then The Rock can be the one that calls them out and says, no, we're not doing that. They don't do that here. I earned my opportunities.
Yeah, and Rock's right. I mean, it was actually a well-written segment.
It is.
Up until this point. I mean, as much as we don't agree with the Rikishi stuff, over time, this as I watched and studied this episode, it kind of grew on me. But we'll continue on.
No, I agree too. It was like, okay, this is actually kind of going somewhere.
Yeah.
The story with this now, as shitty as the reveal was, it's like, okay, now we got to deal with it, and maybe there's a message here. There's some kind of good thing here going on.
Yeah, I think the adult in me, being an adult now, I kind of understand it more where they were going. Whereas when I was 16 years old, I didn't really understand like the social impact that they were getting at.
Right, or even we know the whole race card and all that, but maybe we aren't even mature enough to see the side that his.
At 16, I definitely didn't understand it as the way I do now at 35 years old.
Right. Exactly. All right, so let's move on from there. So this continues on. The Rock says that he achieved everything before this all happened, and if Austin was beside him or even face to face with him, he could have achieved it all too. So it doesn't matter that Austin was out of the picture. Rock says he's even talked to Steve Austin about it and everything is cool. And that's kind of strange to me. Like, why are they all chummy? All of a sudden, like, I talked to Austin, we're all good now.
Yeah, for like an hour after. This is
Yeah.
This is that where he says that, right?
Right. He says, I talked to him for an hour on Monday, talked to him today. It's like bullshit. What? Like, why would Austin ever talk to you for an hour, 2 hours?
Well, he did say that they were talking during his rehab and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that mutual respect, but
That's his. Yeah, that's
know.
the other thing he goes on to say is that he was in contact with them throughout the entire rehab. And this all just sounds not true, but storyline wise, I guess it's got to be true because otherwise Austin would say, "Oh, that's bullshit. The Rock hasn't talked to me at all." So
and he doesn't do that. At least not in
Right.
this episode.
right, he hasn't done it at all. So it looks like what the Rock is saying is true, and that he has been reaching out. But who knows that maybe he's been reaching out for nefarious means, just to try to act like he cares.
Yeah,
Who knows?
cover his tracks.
Right. Who knows? We'll see down the road. All right, so he says Austin is not cool with Rikishi. He's not. So he goes on to say, like, whatever Austin wants to do, like, he's cool with, basically. Like, Rikishi, I'm not happy with that. I've known Rikishi my entire life. You know, if Austin is not happy with him, then, well, Rikishi's got to deal with that. Has nothing to do with me. So that was pretty cool, too. Again, just because he's, you know, a native of mine, fuck him. Because he started a fight here. He started a big issue. He hit somebody with a car. And he says, I have known Rikishi for so long to never do something like this. Now all of a sudden he's doing this. He's going to deserve what he gets. But he also points out that he hopes Austin doesn't go too far because he might regret it for the rest of his life. Which is a good line because when we get to the end of this coverage, it kind of connects. Austin should have watched what he did.
Yeah, and it shows that The Rock is also, I don't know, something a friend would say.
Yeah. Right, he's supporting him. He's like, he's supporting both. He's like, I know Rikishi, I've known him my whole life, but he did something wrong, so he deserves what he gets. And Austin's like his buddy now, whatever, and he needs to be careful with what he does. I know he's pissed, but he's got to be careful. So yeah, he's looking out for both of them. He's not saying anything too one-sided. Obviously, if you were all friends, Rikishi would be the one pissed. Like, what do you mean he should do whatever you want? Like, not accepting that he did something wrong. So, yeah, The Rock's kind of not playing the middle of the fence, but supporting both. So, another good point by you there. You're on a roll, JV.
Yeah.
All right, so from there we move on now to Austin is in the back, and Austin gets confronted by a police officer, warns him to think about what he's going to do. Because Austin's just in his truck, he's waiting. He's waiting for Rikishi because he wants to run his ass over. So Austin's idea of comeback or revenge is to just do what Rikishi did to him. And hit him with a car. So the police officer tells him, this is capital murder. You may go to life. You go to prison for life. And you're going to regret this, whatever. And then JR, just 10 minutes later, says basically the same thing. Come on, Stone Cold, you can't do this. You're going to go to jail for a long time. Blah, blah, blah. And he has the window up the whole time, though, while JR's talking. So he gets no response right away. And then JR's yelling, you need to listen to reason. And then Stone Cold just turns his head like a fucking horror movie. And JR basically like shits his pants and runs away. He says, take it easy. Just take it easy. All right, so then we get to the point where Mick Foley comes out later in the night. And he wants to clear the air with Stone Cold's situation and with the Rikishi fallout. So he's going to reinstate Stone Cold because, like I said earlier, like he said the previous week, it's an indefinite suspension. So there was no time determined, and that it would be based on whether or not they found out who did it. And they found out who did it, so suspension's over. So let's take a listen right now to Mick Foley reinstating Stone Cold.
Well, they booed him out of the building on Raw, now they're cheering him.
Well, I guess I followed through on Monday night And I delivered the man who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, you did.
And logic would say I should be feeling pretty good about it. Instead, to tell you the truth, I feel a little bit sick.
Sick.
Because I have a feeling this whole thing isn't over. Instead, I have a feeling it's just beginning.
He's right about that, Michael.
No, I guess it goes without saying, but hell, I'm going to say it anyway. Stone Cold Steve Austin is no longer suspended from the WWF.
Oh my gosh. The rattlesnake's back. He's all legal.
But I also know that Stone Cold is out in our parking garage with some pretty bad intentions running through that mind. What I want to say to him is to please come out of that garage.
Yeah, good idea.
And come down to this ring, because Stone Cold, I am the man who can deliver Rikishi to you.
What? Deliver Rikishi to Austin? How's he going to do that?
Now, Steve, I have got all night. If need be, I will sit in this ring until you come down. But until then, I will be waiting, so somebody will give me their chair.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Stone Cold,
I'm
please.
going to go on a little Austin strike here.
Don't make us sit here and look at Commissioner Foley for
We're all
any
going
length
to
of
wait
time.
for Stone Cold to come on down.
Well, Commissioner Mick Foley, King, has asked Stone Cold to come to the ring, and the commissioner told Stone Cold that I can deliver Rikishi to you.
This will be your episode of SmackDown. Mick Foley sitting in the middle of the ring, unless Stone Cold Steve Austin decides to make his presence known. So, Steve,
I know
if
you
you're
might
there,
put my butt right here. That's what it is. That's what it's going to be. But damn it, Steve, you owe it to yourself to go to the ring. The commissioner is in the ring, and he says he can deliver Rikishi to you. Now, damn it, you owe it to yourself to get out of that truck and get in the ring and listen to what he's got to say. Give the man the benefit of the doubt, damn it. What do you... Uh-oh.
Well, King, I think Austin's making his way out here. Oh, my gosh. Commissioner Mick Foley claims that he can deliver Rikishi to Stone Cold, and look at the walk. Look at the look in Austin's eyes. Look at the look on his face. Well, now it's put up or shut up time for Foley again. He's going to have to somehow deliver Rikishi. What does he mean? How's he going to deliver Rikishi? Is Rikishi here yet?
All right, so Mick comes out there and he says he followed through on Monday night. You know, after all the shit that Austin's given him about being lackadaisical and not figuring out what's going on and basically sitting on his hands this whole time, Mick says, I found out who it was Monday. I figured it out who it was. It was Rikishi. So Mick says, you know, he should feel good about that, but he feels sick about that because basically this isn't over. It's just beginning. So, good point there. He freaking unleashed a can of worms basically by helping Austin figure out who it is. Now he has to deal with Austin seeking revenge on Rikishi and all the hell he's going to raise. So that's what Mick is saying there. So he goes on to say, you know, I guess I'm going to say it. And it goes without saying, Stone Cold Steve Austin is no longer suspended from the WWF. And Mick doesn't want Austin to stay in that garage backstage the entire night, try to hit Rikishi. He wants him to come out. Come out there. And Mick points out that I'm the man that can deliver you Rikishi. So come out here now. And if he doesn't come out, Mick is willing to just sit in the ring. He's going to get a chair and just sit out there. And he even tells the audience, well, this will be a great episode with me just sitting here in the ring all night if Austin doesn't come out. So JR's backstage again, talking to Austin in the truck. And JR finally convinces Austin to get out of the truck and, man up basically and get out there and figure, see what Mick has to say and see what he wants to do from what Mick has to say to him. So Austin gets out of the truck and he heads to the ring. And now from there, we move on to Stone Cold making his appearance in the ring with Mick Foley. So let's take a listen to that, and I'll be right back after that.
Oh, boy.
Stone Cold, I want to thank you for coming down to this ring. I want to say one thing. I know you're sitting out there all night in your parking lot, and you got some damn bad intentions in your mind. I made the mistake a couple weeks ago of trying to tell you what to do. And I've now learned that nobody tells Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do.
I think Foley's stalling. He better start delivering.
So I'm no longer telling you, Steve. I am asking you, if you're thinking about running down Rikishi like he did to you, don't do it.
You better deliver.
First off, Steve, I don't think the guy's dumb enough to show up tonight knowing you're looking for it. And second, you run down Rikishi, then it's no longer a wrestling matter, it's a police matter, and you will go to jail.
That's true. That's true.
So as commissioner of the WWF, I'm asking you, please don't do it. As somebody who's known you for 10 years, I'm asking you, please don't do it. And I'm asking you, please, to wait till No Mercy, and then I will guarantee that I will deliver Rikishi to you in this very ring.
And No Mercy.
Wait. No, you're talking about delivering Rikishi. Why would I want to wait for you to deliver Rikishi when I can go right now, sit in that truck, put it in four-wheel drive, and when that some shows up, run over him again and again and again and again like some big fat-ass speed bump. Because if you do it, Steve, then you go to jail. Means as WWF commissioner, I don't get what I want. It means the fans right here in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, boy.
They don't get what they want because you will go away to jail for a very, very long time. So I'm saying, looking you in the eye, if you can wait to No Mercy, then I guarantee you a match with Rikishi. Oh, you want to give me a match? Some run over me like a dog in the street 10 months out of my life, and you're offering me a match. It's not a match. It's not just any match, Stone Cold. It's no holds barred. It's anything goes. It means you can do any damn thing you want to Rikishi, and it's all legal.
Oh, my. Oh, legal.
It's all legal. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody goes to jail. Everything goes. It's your match, and you can do whatever you want. Well, then, officially, I accept your match.
Uh-oh. Did you hear that? It's all legal.
10 months of sitting on my ass, watching all these WWF superstars. You can call it a match, but there ain't gonna be no arm drags, no drop kicks. It's gonna be one solid, flat out, Stone Cold ass whipping.
Oh my God, Rikishi!
This match is gonna take brutality to a whole nother level. So I got just one question for you. What did you say the name of that pay-per-view was? No Mercy. Damn right.
Oh my God. Damn right, Michael, No Mercy! In 10 days, in No Mercy, Stone Cold returns to the ring. But King is not a wrestling match, and I can guarantee Austin will have no mercy on Rikishi's soul. I can't even imagine what Stone Cold has in mind for Rikishi, but I can assure you, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be real bad.
All right, so Austin runs out there. He grabs a mic right away. He stares down Mick Foley. Mick even thanks Austin for coming down to the ring. And Mick says that he learned that nobody tells Austin what to do. He knows that. Mick says he should not try to run down Rikishi, because if he does that, it's no longer a wrestling matter. It becomes a criminal matter. which is more build up to what we're getting to. So this is all good, well written stuff here. It's all connected when we get to the end here. So keep listening for these little details. He says, you're going to go to prison if you're going to do that. So please don't do it. Please wait until No Mercy, and I will deliver Rikishi. So Austin responds, why would I want to wait for you to deliver Rikishi when I can run him over again and again and again like he's some big old fat speed bump? Which, that was a nice one.
Yeah, it was.
And Mick says fans won't get what they want, though, because if you do that, you're going to go to jail for a very long time. Austin says, a match isn't good enough because it cost me 10 months of my life. Mick says, well, it's just a match. It's not just any match, rather. It's a no-holds-barred match, an anything-goes match, and it's all legal. It's all legal. Another main point here. And also the whole thing where he says, when Austin says, a match isn't good enough for 10 months of my life, good response from Mick would have been, well, how about 30 years of your life?
Yeah, no shit.
For what you might
Felony?
do. Right. So
It's
they're
a felony minimum 25, right, or something, or 20.
around there, yeah. So what they're building up, though, is Austin, you need to watch what you do because you're going to go away for a long time. With that said, he's just coming off an injury, so maybe even within the writing, they're not sure if he's ready to come back. So maybe they're setting up a situation where, all right, Austin needs some more time off. Let's find a way for him to get more time off already. Let's have him do something stupid where he's going to have to be off TV for a little while, just in case he's not fully capable of performing. Just in the back of my head, that's what I was starting to think. I know he doesn't, because we looked ahead, and I remember he didn't take another extended hiatus, but it seems like this early in the game of his return, maybe they're setting up a potential, okay, he's not cleared from the doctors totally, there's another appointment coming up, so let's set the groundwork for this. So maybe there's something like that going on. So anyway, Austin goes on to question Mick, this is all legal? Everything I do is going to be illegal? And Mick's like, yeah. So Austin officially accepts the match. He says, you can call it a match, but there ain't going to be any arm drags, no drop kicks. It's going to be one solid stone cold ass whooping. This match is going to take brutality to a whole new level. And then he has one last question for Mick. So I got one last question for you. What did he say the name of this pay-per-view was? And Mick responds, No Mercy. Then Austin says, damn right. And I almost named this episode No Mercy, damn right. I went with No Mercy on Rikishi.
Yeah, can't go wrong with either.
Yeah.
I like them both.
I think we already used No Mercy in an episode in the past.
Yeah, I think we did too.
So I have to get creative with how am I going to use it? Because this is the most fitting No Mercy usage. Because Austin's coming back for revenge. And he wants to fucking kick the shit out of this guy. All right, so we move on now to later in the night. Stone Cold is going to seek out Rikishi's best friends, Too Cool. So this is quick audio, so take a listen to this, and we'll just run through it in a second.
Hey, I know you guys been traveling up and down the road with Rikishi the last 10 months, and I know you was with him the night he ran me down. So I'm gonna give you one chance. Where the hell is he? And don't even think about lying to me.
Steve, man, I swear, I don't know where he is. Actually, I haven't even seen him since Monday.
Oh, in 10 months of traveling, he never mentioned the fact that he ran over somebody with a car?
No,
You're sure?
Positive, man.
Well, what about you?
No, G. He didn't holler at me once about it. Rikishi doing his own thing, brother. I stay out of his game, and he stays out of mine.
Now, was that right, G?
Yeah.
Oh!
Well, there.
All right, so Austin is busting into Too Cool's locker room, and Austin just wants to know where Rikishi is. Austin says that Scotty and Grandmaster Sexay have been around with him for a while, and they should know where he is. So Austin asked Scotty if Rikishi ever mentioned running over Austin. And Scotty's like, oh, no, I promise. I don't know anything. And he's like being legit, like scared of Austin and being respectful of Austin. So that's key in this promo. And then Austin decides, all right, I'm going to check out Grandmaster Sexay. What's he have to say? And Grandmaster Sexay is the complete opposite of how Scotty 2 Hotty was being. So that's good comedic writing right there, is to have, one playing, I'm serious, and then Austin goes to the other guy, and he's a dumb fuck, being an idiot. So Grandmaster's like, nah, Jay, he didn't holler at me. He didn't holler at me once about it. I stay out of his game. He stays out of mine. Then Austin's just like shaking his head. He's like, yeah. Oh, is that right, G? And then, bam, just starts beating the shit out of him. So, good little shit there. Put Rikishi on notice that he's going to fuck up his boys. And then from there now, Austin and Rikishi make their return to Detroit, Michigan for Raw 386, October 16th. It's a live episode, so they're back at the scene of the crime. They're back at Joe Louis Arena, and we're going to kick off with a Rikishi promo. And it was recorded earlier in the day. And it's a Jonathan Coachman interview. So he's here at this point. And Rikishi says...
So young, too.
Yeah, so young with hair, but hair that is going away. So Rikishi says his family and his people respect him more than ever now because of what he did. He says, I was finally the one to stand up and make a change. And when Rikishi said that, that made me just think of his gimmick when he was Fatu back in, I think it was 96. Must have been 96. But he was Fatu, and he came back after being... actually, just before being the Sultan, he came back and he was just make a difference. And he was on the streets trying to help the community. So I feel like this line was a little kind of throwback to that.
Like a jab at him.
Yeah, just like as some would say, like a little
character.
Yeah, like a little Easter egg or something like that. Yeah, I'm the only one to stand up and make a change. So. What we have anyway is, he's doing this recorded earlier. The reason why it was recorded earlier is because Mick Foley banned Rikishi from the Joe Louis Arena. And not only because of what's going on right now, the fact that Austin knows he's the one that hit him, but also the fact that the car incident happened right in the same place. So just to play it safe, Mick Foley is saying, Rikishi, you can't be here. You can't be in the arena, is what he says. So that's another technicality that'll come into play, is that Mick Foley said, you can't be in the arena. So Rikishi is happy about what he did, and he would do it again. And then Coachman mentions how The Rock is not happy about it. And Rikishi said he listened to what The Rock had to say. And Rikishi says that what The Rock said hurt him. He says The Rock is confused. Deep down, he's cool about what I did. Rikishi goes on to say, I ain't got no remorse. I meant what I said. I'm not telling stories. I'm telling facts. I would do anything to make sure The Rock doesn't get treated the way my family has been treated. Ugh, just this shit. Like, he's The Rock's savior.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, dude, you haven't even been with a company that long. Technically,
as this
and
character,
all of a sudden you're like this fucking freedom fighter,
right? I wish there was a Rock Rikishi feud coming.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, anyways, he says, "I'm the one island that doesn't care about Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'd smack him down like the dog that he is. This Samoan will take care of business at No Mercy, and you could take that to the bank." And when Rikishi said that last line, I will take care of business, it reminded me of what we've been covering on the Extreme ECW Livecast with Jimmy Snuka, because that's one of his favorite freaking catchphrases. I'm taking care of business.
That's true. It is.
So maybe that was even a little nod to the Islander.
To Snuka.
To Snuka. All right, so now we move on to a little bit later in the show at 44 minutes in. Michael Cole is going to bring out Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this is I think this is our lengthiest promo of the episode today. And it's about 6 minutes long. And it's Stone Cold with Michael Cole, but then also Rikishi is going to have something to say to Stone Cold. So let's take a listen to that.
He's pacing a mile a minute. Stone Cold, it's been 11 months since you returned to the scene of the crime here in Detroit. How did you feel stepping into the Joe Louis Arena today?
Well, I'm happy and I'm pissed off at the same time. I'm happy as hell to be right here in Detroit tonight. I'm a little pissed off. No, I take that back. I'm a lot pissed off because this is where it all happened. This is where I got run over like a dog in the street for 10 months, 11 months, however long it's been. I'm sitting there in rehab. 10 months, the doctor says, no, Stone Cold, not yet. 10 months, I can't do what I was put here to do. And I ain't trying to make nobody feel sorry for me. I'm just trying to paint a picture of how I'm going to compress 10 months of frustration into the single most important ass whooping of my life.
Oh, boy. That's this Sunday. No Mercy. Couldn't be a better name pay-per-view. Stone Cold, you heard the interview from Rikishi earlier on today. What'd you think about that?
Bogus BS, crap, not a zero zilch. It didn't mean a damn thing to me because it's a load of crap. Rikishi says he's banned from the building for my protection. I'll tell you right now, Michael Cole, right now, there's a sumbitch standing in this ring that does not need protection, and his name is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I believe that. No doubt.
He says that if he was here, he'd slap Stone Cold. He's gonna slap me. Sumbitch run over me with the car, ran off, now he says he's gonna slap me. That's the best he can do. That's all he's got. Let me just put it in, let me just do it like this. I got a picture of Rikishi on my refrigerator. I got a picture of Rikishi on the glove box of my truck. I got two pictures of Rikishi in my bathroom so I can look at his ugly ass whether I'm standing up or sitting down. Bottom line is this. When he shows up in No Mercy on Sunday, I'm looking at Rikishi and I'm looking at a dead man.
Wow. You heard that?
Well, Stone Cold, in 6 days at No Mercy on pay-per-view, you get Rikishi, no holds barred. What are you going to do to him?
Uh-oh. I don't know we can go that graphic here on television.
Well, what am I going to do? What am I not going to do to him? I ain't going to arm drag him. I'm not going to drop kick him. I'm not going to do none of that lucha libre crap with him. I'm going to break that man down, and when I get him on that ground, it ain't going to be a pretty sight. But when I get...
Uh-oh. Oh, Michael Cole, you idiot. Better get out of there. Hey, Michael, go now.
When I get that son of a bitch on this ground, on that ground, wherever, I'm going to stomp a mud hole in his ass and walk it dry, and you say, Stone Cold, how can you stomp a man whose ass is that big? And if there's a man that can do it, his name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And look at me, whatever I do to you, Rikishi, the bottom line is, whatever Stone Cold does, it's all legal.
Damn right, it's no holds barred. Signed by Commissioner Mick Foley. Hey, look.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Look, he's here.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Now listen up. There's nothing more that I would like but to be in that ring with you tonight. But Commissioner Foley, once again, saves your ass. You see, what he's done, he's banned me from coming in there tonight. But he never said nothing about out here. Yeah, out here in the parking lot. This ought to bring you memories. This is where I ran your ass over. If you want some of me, I'll be here all night. Come and get some, Austin.
What?
We ain't got to wait till No Mercy. We can do this right now.
Here's Austin. Austin Gordon. He's walking with a purpose. He's going after Rikishi. My God, has Rikishi got a death wish? Are you kidding me? Same spot that Rikishi ran over Austin 11 months ago. My God, can you imagine what Austin's going to do when he gets out there? Keep the cameras on him. I gotta see this.
For the love of God.
Here he goes. Here we go.
Rikishi must have a death wish. What is the 425-pounder thinking? Austin didn't have to be invited but once, did he, King?
We don't have to wait till Sunday. We don't have to wait till No Mercy. We're gonna see it right now.
That rattlesnake is a rabid animal right now.
Well, let me just say this. You're right. The rattlesnake's a rabid animal. You think he's going to tear Rikishi limb to limb, but you can't underestimate Rikishi. Rikishi's been waiting for this.
Hey, man, I haven't seen him. Austin, this Sunday, No Mercy.
Well, son of a bitch. He tried to run him down again, King.
I don't know.
Damn, that son of a bitch. He wanted to get off to the again.
He certainly sent a message.
Damn.
All right, so it started off with Michael Cole coming down to the ring to introduce Stone Cold Steve Austin. Says, Stone Cold, it's been 11 months since you've returned to the scene of the crime. How do you feel returning to the Joe Louis Arena? Just a little side note. When Michael Cole said that, and I had written my note earlier, the return to the scene of the crime, I kind of cringed to myself because, like, shit, I wrote the same kind of thing Michael Cole would say. I'm that lame that I would say, they're back at the scene of the crime.
Michael Pro is Michael Cole.
Oh, man. All right, so anyway, I just had to point that out to, make fun of myself. So Austin says he's happy and pissed at the same time to be back at the Joe Louis Arena. He's happy to be in Detroit, but pissed off that it had to happen there. He's pissed off that he had about 10 months of rehab. And he's not looking for sympathy, he points out. He's just trying to figure out how he's going to take 10 months of frustration and turn it into an ass beating. One other side thing that just popped into my head, I was covering that Joe Louis Arena, we have this whole car thing, right? So obviously it's Detroit, so that has to be connected to it. Motor City. So we're going to run them over with the car, right? So that's got to be something. But then also Halloween Havoc, there was on the top of the roof, the Joe Louis Arena, it was Hulk Hogan and the Giant in monster trucks. Do you remember that? It was like a sumo monster truck
I do
battle.
remember that. Yeah.
So that's another, motor vehicle thing. Right.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. In Detroit. So whenever these, whenever wrestling companies go to Detroit, they feel like they have to do some fucking kind of car thing.
They're like, well, we have some extra cars, so.
Well, also another one that just came into my head. Isn't it during WrestleMania when they're in Detroit where John Cena drives the fucking car on the streets for his opening and then busts through, breaks the glass in the car, and then he comes out for his entrance?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's Detroit too.
But it would make it. Yeah, hey, it's leading up to that.
I'm pretty damn sure that's where that happened. But that was, it's funny. Like, oh, we're in Detroit. We got to do something with cars. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let me move on. So Austin says, he doesn't need protection from Rikishi. Speaking of what like Mick did for him, he left. Mick suspended him or banned him from the arena, and Austin's like, I don't need that. And he goes on to say, he says he's gonna slap me down. He's gonna slap me like a dog. The damn son of a bitch run me over with a car. Then he ran off. Now he thinks he's gonna slap me. That's the best he can do. That's all he's got. Is he gonna slap me? So Austin says he has pictures of Rikishi on his fridge in his house, on his glove box, in his truck. He has 2 pictures in his bathroom for whether or not he's sitting down or standing up. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it is. That's funny.
If I'm taking a shit, I'm staring at you because you're a piece of shit. If I'm taking a piss, I'm pissing on you. So Austin says he has pictures of, all those pictures there, and I just thought that was great. So when he wraps it up there, he says, the bottom line is, at No Mercy, I'm looking at Rikishi, just like I was looking at him in the bathroom, on the fridge, in the glove box. At No Mercy, I'm looking at Rikishi, and I'm looking at a dead man. And that's what he sets out to do at No Mercy. Michael Cole asks what Austin is going to do to Rikishi at No Mercy in the No Holds Barred match, which is a pretty dumbass question because basically Austin's just been saying that.
Yeah.
He's a dead man. That's what I'm going to do.
Like, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's illegal.
Yeah.
This match.
So from there, Austin says, what am I going to do? What am I not going to do? It's basically the question. I'm not going to do an arm drag, so we get this whole recap again. He pulls this one out again, which I liked. It was cool.
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah. Then he adds a nice little one at the end of this. So he goes, I'm not going to do an arm drag. I'm not going to do a drop kick. I'm not going to do any Lucha Libre crap with him. So he's shitting on Lucha Libre at this point. So I'm going to break that man down. And when I get him down on the ground, it ain't going to be a pretty sight. So at that point, Austin just yanks the mic from Cole. He's getting annoyed with him. So I'm going to stomp a mud hole in his ass and walk it dry. And you say, Stone Cold, how are you going to stomp a mud hole in a man's ass who's that big? Or in an ass who's that big? Whatever the fuck. Just a big ass. I'm paraphrasing. So if there's a man that can do it, his name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then he gets right in the camera. He says, Rikishi, whatever Stone Cold does, it's all legal. So they're continuing with that. Whatever he does is legal. Because what we're going to get to, that might kind of clear the air. So Rikishi appears on the Titantron at that point. Rikishi says he wishes he could be in the arena, but Foley has banned his ass. But he said nothing about being out here in the parking lot. This is where I ran your ass over. If you want some of me, I'll be here all night, and we can do this right now. So Austin's like, all right, fuck yeah. So Austin heads up to the ramp.
It's like, hell yeah, I'm fucking down.
Yeah. It's like, you're trying to scare me? Screw you. You're the guy I'm waiting for. Austin doesn't back down. So Austin heads up to the ramp, and he walks through the backstage area. Austin is back. It's just so cool how it lined up where they're back there. Because they don't plan this, just months ahead. Like, okay, Austin's going to be back, so let's be there. It's kind of like a schedule, basically, where they were at that arena around the same time the previous year. So they're going to get a booking basically around the same time again the following year. That's why Raw in Boston is always around the same time unless they do a pay-per-view. So it's just a scheduling thing.
Yeah, it's the way that they travel.
Right.
The way the rotation works.
Yeah, exactly. So it's cool, though, that it worked out this way.
Too, not to cut you off, but some of these stadiums, they can only book during certain times because they have
sports,
hockey or basketball or some other sport going on.
Right. So they kind of pigeonhole in non-sports
for availability.
Or entertainment shows like WWE. So it was cool, though, just to see Austin back in that same spot. Just weeks after his return. There he is, back in that same spot where he got hit. And just looking around what the hell? It's almost the same thing. It's deja vu. So he's back at that scene of the crime. And then all of a sudden, Rikishi's driving that same town car, smashes through a bunch of boxes. So that's kind of stupid, but it's for effect. The boxes go flying. So Austin's looking around. Boxes go flying. Car comes by. And he's trying to hit Austin again. So Austin gets out of the way. He jumps into the bed of the back of a truck. And then Rikishi stops. And for whatever reason, I like this. It just seems so corny, so B-movie-ish. Where Rikishi sticks his head out of the car. He goes, Austin, this Sunday, No Mercy.
I hated this. This is my hell no moment, actually.
Is it?
Yeah,
the moment is kind of hell no, but I like that line. I just thought it was
that's the line. That's the line that put it in hell no for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hated it. It's like one of Chuck Norris's bad movies.
Well, that's what I liked about it. It was just like a shitty movie line. Austin, this Sunday, No Mercy.
I was like, no thanks.
I watched it about 3-4 times, so it grew on me. So yeah, you shit on it. I liked it. Whatever. But I thought it was a cool idea for this kind of thing to happen again since they're in Detroit. Let Rikishi try to hit him again. Screw it. But Lola does make a good point on commentary right after this to kind of give us the real meaning of what was going on. Is that Rikishi wasn't trying to hit him. He was just trying to get in Austin's mind and fuck with him a little bit prior to their match at No Mercy.
Psychological game.
Right, exactly. And then they just, later in this episode, they click to a segment where The Rock looks pissed seeing what Rikishi just tried to do to Austin again. So they have that on the back burner there. All right, so that brings us now to SmackDown 61 from October 19th, 2000. And it's in Cleveland, Ohio. It was taped on October 17th, 2000. And we're going to kick off with some audio right away. JR is with Austin. And we're going to have him pretty big incident. So let's take a listen to that, and then we'll be right back.
Steve, everybody was shocked Monday night. It made me sick to see what Rikishi attempted to do one more time to run you down. I know that you're keyed up. I know you're more worked up than you've ever been, but I got some tough questions to ask you here. You know, Rikishi really believes that he did the right thing. He thinks he did this whole deal for his family, and his family's proud of him. And what do you say to somebody that ran you down like roadkill?
There ain't no way you can say someone has a legitimate excuse to run Stone Cold Steve Austin down like a dog. That's the bottom line.
Well, I understand that. I understand what you're...
King,
Stone Cold, huh?
wait a minute. It's
Stone
Rikishi.
Cold. Eat this, Stone Cold.
Oh, no! Rikishi's destroying Austin's truck. What is he doing? Has he lost his mind? What is Rikishi doing? Taking a sledgehammer to Austin's pickup truck. Somebody let Stone Cold know what's going on. Stone Cold doesn't have a clue this is happening, King. Oh, no. Oh, now he's making a big mistake. Look at this. What? Oh, come on, Rikishi.
Steve, he is a dangerous human being. God only knows what he's going to do Sunday at No Mercy. He truly believes in his heart that he has done everything right and has made his people happy. He's 400 pounds. He ain't average. He thinks he's a visionary.
Now, I envision for Rikishi, he ain't gonna get a normal whooping. That's what I envision.
Well, I understand how you feel.
Somebody needs to tell these guys what Rikishi's doing. Stone Cold and JR have no idea that Rikishi is destroying Stone Cold's truck in the parking garage. Rikishi isn't even supposed to be here tonight. Somebody's got to get word. But look at this. My gosh, he's been barred from here tonight, but he's completely destroying Stone Cold's ride. Yeah, barred by Commissioner Mick Foley. Well, that bar didn't have much effect.
Steve, now I got to admit, when Commissioner Foley made this a no-holds-barred matchup, a lot of us were excited and happy about it because you got your chance to get your hands on Rikishi. But let me tell you, we're finding out more about him as we go along here. I mean, as I said, he ain't normal. And you got to think about Sunday and no-holds-barred. Anything goes, everything is legal. And I know you don't want to hear this. I know you don't want to hear this, but there's a lot of us that are pretty damn concerned about what's going to happen to you on Sunday. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's just the way I feel about it.
JR, Stone Cold, Rikishi is here, and he's destroying your truck.
Good, finally, get out there. Now Stone Cold Steve Austin, and look at Rikishi at the parking garage, King. He's completely ruined that truck. Well, Stone Cold's been told that Rikishi's destroying his truck, and Austin's not going to take this lightly. Look at this. Well, King, the rattlesnake was like a caged animal coming into SmackDown tonight, as it was. Now I'm going to tell you something. Somebody better tell Rikishi that the rattlesnake's on his way.
What the hell's he thinking?
Now Stone Cold making a beeline for that parking garage. Well, I can't wait to see the look on Stone Cold's face when he sees his truck. He has no idea what's happened to it. Rikishi has destroyed Stone Cold's pickup truck.
God almighty. God almighty, what's on your truck?
Son of a...
Damn, he run your truck.
Oh, look out! breaking.
Rikishi. I can't. Stevie's tore up your damn truck. He's ruined your. Steve, what are you doing? Steve, where are you going? Hey, Steve, come on. Now, stay here. You gotta get in trouble. Don't do this. That could be a trap. Steve, it could be a trap. Look. Damn, he's hard-headed. You got a trap? Good God.
What?
Now, wait a minute. You gotta think about this.
Open your mouth now.
No,
Open your mouth now.
just think about this.
Where's your buddy Stone Cold at now?
Just think about this, Rikishi.
On JR.
Oh, come on now. Rikishi just attacked JR.
That's right. Stone Cold, huh? Stone Cold. That's your buddy, huh? Huh? That's your buddy, huh? I'll show you what I think of you and your buddy. Rikishi!
No, don't do this!
Rikishi! Don't do it! Don't do it! Put it down! Rikishi! Put it down! If you want some of Stone Cold Sunday, then you need to put the sledgehammer down now. Just do it. Don't make a mistake and live to regret it, please. Put the sledgehammer down. Remember, no holds bar. No holds bar this Sunday. Rikishi, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Are you okay?
All right, so JR is trying to talk to Austin, and Austin is pacing around the ring like a madman. And JR asks Austin about how he feels about Rikishi saying his family is proud of him, trying to run him down like he's roadkill. So Austin goes on to basically say, no one has a legitimate excuse to run someone over ever, and that's the bottom line. Like, what is that, a public service announcement?
Nice PSA there, buddy.
So JR goes from there. He says, I understand that, but the video then cuts to Rikishi standing in front of Austin's pickup truck, and he has a sledgehammer. So the sledgehammer is like the most popular item of 99 and 2000. And Rikishi has it now at this point. So it's been traded off from Triple H to Rikishi at this point, because Triple H is now like a babyface. So you got to get the sledgehammer to the next big heel dealing with Austin. So Rikishi starts fucking up the truck big time. And the worst thing, though, that happens that Austin has to be pissed about is that Rikishi takes out Austin's cooler and then just starts cracking open all the beers and dumping them all out. Which, what an asshole. Just fucking take the beers and just dump them?
Yeah, that's a beer abuse.
Yeah.
That's a party foul.
It's alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
So Austin and JR don't actually know this is going on at the time. Just seeing it. The video's cutting to it. They're still having the conversation. So they're not aware. And Rikishi starts fucking up the windshield. He's banging on the hood. And this is the custom Stone Cold truck with all the Austin 316 and the skull on it.
It looks like a shittier version of it, though.
It does. It looks like they just got another truck and slapped some stickers on it.
Yeah, it did like a very shitty sticker job on it.
Right. It's not the one we saw a while back.
But it does the trick.
Yeah. And they knew they were going to beat the shit out of it. So that's the whole point, I guess. All right, this truck's not that good, but it looks passable because it's black. So let's fuck it up. So JR is trying to warn Austin of Rikishi and how crazy he might actually be. So this is basically my interpretation was JR's just trying to sell to the audience that Rikishi's a badass. Like, look how badass he is. He's beating the shit out of this. You don't know how crazy Rikishi actually is. But I think it worked. Because I was starting to think, well, this guy's pretty damn nuts. He's fucking going nuts on this car with the sledgehammer.
So, except when he hits the hood and it just bounces back. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. Like, hoods are pretty strong.
Right.
But the way that bounced back, I'm like, oh, that could have gone bad.
Yeah. Yeah, could have bounced him in a freaking noggin. Imagine that he gets knocked out on live TV doing that.
Oh.
Oh, man. All right, so
That's
Jonathan...
why he doesn't go after the hood again, I think, after he just sticks like decided. Like, you can tell he realized, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. So at that point, that's when Jonathan Coachman runs in and tells Austin that Rikishi is destroying the truck. Austin leaves immediately. JR follows Austin to the parking garage, and Rikishi drives off in the town car. So we think. So Austin gets into the truck. It's all beat to shit, and he gives chase to Rikishi. JR is doing his best impersonation of Admiral Akbar from Return of the Jedi from Star Wars and says, "It could be a trap! Come on! It could be a trap, Austin! It's a trap!"
JR does a lot of things that are cool, but that was not as cool.
Whenever he's trying to be friends with somebody, he's not cool.
No.
I'd rather have pissed off JR. Like we had a few years back when he was
when he was like
pissed
a
at
heel and all
Vince.
angry and shit.
Yeah. But when he's like trying to be someone's buddy, like he's fucking all of a sudden he's like Steve Austin's sidekick.
It's always just been implied that they are because he's kind of like the voice of Stone Cold.
Right. He's always been the voice of Stone Cold and the guy that's kind of always been behind him, like supporting him.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, JR's like, damn, he's so damn hard-headed. And he turns around, and then Rikishi's there. Oh, shit. And then Rikishi fucking wails on JR, knocks him down. And Rikishi is about to smash JR with the sledgehammer. But Mick Foley comes in. He runs down there and tells Rikishi to calm down, knock it off. And there you have it. So Austin's giving chase to somebody that's not Rikishi. And JR's left behind, and Rikishi's willing to beat up Stone Cold's friend, which Austin just did to Rikishi's friends. He beat up Grandmaster Sexay. So maybe a little payback here is what we have going on here. And also there is this build of the acknowledgement of Austin and JR's friendship, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a bit. But Austin's going to realize he's just chasing some random dude. And he's going to turn around. He drives back into the parking garage. He actually drives over his beer cooler, so I guess he didn't care about the beer that much. So. Austin says he's going to go. He comes in there. He's going to fucking go nuts on Rikishi for attacking JR. That's what he's back for. He's going to find that out. And then just a little later, about 10 minutes later on Raw, on this episode, or SmackDown rather, Austin runs in and puts an end to a shit show of a match that's going on. It's the Hardy Boys, Chris Jericho, versus Edge and Christian and X-Pac. So this match is going on for a couple of minutes, and it's just a match that's building up to No Mercy because all these guys are involved in a tag team match and a singles match. So Austin comes down there, just fucking starts whacking everybody with a steel chair. He even punches Tim White. Couldn't believe it. It's like, Tim White was your man, Austin.
Yeah, what the hell?
The hell, you should have had Earl Hebner in the damn ring for that.
Earl Hebner doesn't show up for this, though.
No, yeah. He can't do this match. He can only do... Now he only does Triple H and Kurt Angle matches. Fucking Hebner. So anyway, Sergeant Slaughter is down there randomly. We haven't seen him in a while. And he's just back, and Austin gives him a nice stunner for measure. And my first thought was, what the hell is he doing back here? What is this? Back to the beginning when Austin was stunning all the top people. When he first stunned JR, when he first stunned Vince McMahon, he stunned Sergeant Slaughter, all those guys. So Austin just starts to stomp on Sergeant Slaughter as the show comes to an end. And that's the go-home show leading up to the No Mercy pay-per-view, which was on October 22nd, live from Albany, New York. And the one thing to mention, a little side note within here, is that on this day, Yokozuna passed away at the age of 34.
Was he a part of the Anoa'i family? Anoa'i?
Yes, he is.
Thought so.
Yeah. And he died at 34, which is crazy to think. And also
34? Wow.
Yeah. crazy to think like how long he's been already gone from the company at this point, which would be what, 3 years, 96. Yeah, 96 was his last year, I believe. So about 4 years gone. So he was 30 when he left. So all his accomplishments were in.
Didn't he get even bigger? 20s. He was like very big.
Yeah,
he kept very huge.
Yeah, kept getting very big. So Yokozuna, the name, just kind of tied to what we're talking to. So the name Yokozuna is like the highest level of a sumo wrestler.
Yep, I know that. Yep.
But we're also, we're talking about Rikishi right now, and Rikishi's name comes from being a sumo wrestler too, because they wanted Fatu to become more like a sumo, and they wanted him to be like the next Yokozuna. They wanted him to, be like the new generation style, not new generation in that sense, but I guess like an attitude era version of Yokozuna.
Yep.
And one thing that Vince McMahon had always wanted Yokozuna to do, just to like make him look more devastating, is to not have trunks on and have his whole ass and his legs out like a sumo. But Yokozuna was like, no fucking way. I'm not doing that. So he didn't get to do that with him, but he wanted to make Rikishi do that. And Rikishi went along with it. And he took on the name Rikishi, which means sumo wrestler. That's the Japanese word for sumo wrestler, is Rikishi.
Do you know who the second most famous sumo wrestler of all time is besides Yokozuna?
Second most famous?
Yeah. Can you name a second sumo wrestler?
Akabono?
No.
One recent one? More recent? Who else?
E Honda.
E Honda. Street Fighter.
Yep.
What's the E stand for in E Honda? Is it Edo?
I think it's Edward
EDO?
or something.
I think it's EDO.
No. I think it's just.
It's Edward. Edward.
Hold on, let me look it up.
Are they from the United States? Edward Honda. But yeah, so
is Edmund. Yeah, Edmund. EDMOND. So I was kind of wrong.
Oh shit. Okay.
Edmund Honda, more commonly known as E Honda, is a video game character created by Capcom. Capcom for the Street Fighter series of fighting games. Professional sumo wrestler.
It's funny, in our world of our pop culture, the two most famous sumo wrestlers were not sumo wrestlers.
Yeah, are not real.
They're both characters. All right, so I just thought that was interesting. First off, big, passing away on a pay-per-view day of somebody that had a big impact in our childhood in WWF, not like on our childhood, but during that time in wrestling. He's a recognizable figure, and the whole connection with the sumo wrestling thing was interesting that it came up during this Rikishi feud. All right, so I just wanted to point that out. But anyways, during the show here at the pay-per-view, Rikishi is backstage with Mick Foley, and he's going to interrupt Mick Foley, who's backstage trying to do his business, and he wants to know where Austin is because Austin has not arrived in the arena, and Rikishi wants his hand to be raised if Austin does not show up soon. So Mankind, Mick Foley says, I'll give you in 5 minutes or so, if he's not out there, I'll raise your hand. But Mick reminds Rikishi that Austin is always closer than you think because he's a rattlesnake. So then that brings us to the match later in the night. And it's kind of an early match. It's been kind of being built as the main event storyline. Because that's what's getting all the video packages all the time. The pay-per-view opens with the Stone Cold Rikishi feud as the segment. It doesn't talk about Kurt Angle and The Rock. It doesn't talk about Triple H, Chris Benoit, Austin, Rikishi. That's what's selling this pay-per-view. But it gets put on in the middle of the show. And from what I've read, it's basically the idea, the thought behind why they did that is that Austin can't really go yet. So they're not going to have a big main event match where they're unsure of his ability and this is just going to be a kind of shit brawl.
Yeah, especially with how talented the roster is at this time. Like,
Right.
you don't want to force feed. Like, he's on the card. It's sold tickets. It's sold pay-per-view buys.
Right.
It doesn't need to be the last match on the show because it would have been a disservice to everyone else on the roster that is 100% and can put on, an actual match.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
what we get is hardly that.
No. Yeah, it's like Kurt Angle, Triple H. That's going to be a great match. Yeah, that deserves to be main event spot.
Yeah, I watched some of that. That match is actually pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this match. It's going to be a shit show brawl, basically. Mick Foley's going to head out there and say, Austin, come on down, whatever. Rikishi's out there with his sledgehammer, and, he wants this match to be called because Austin doesn't show up. And it doesn't take Austin long. Austin's music hits, and he drives out with his truck, with the fucked up truck. And he gets right out of there. He starts to beat the shit out of Rikishi. He slams Rikishi's head into the truck door. Then Austin just starts to beat him all around the ring. He tosses him into the steps. He throws him onto the Spanish announce booth. And this is Austin. He's not in wrestling gear at all. So this isn't going to be a wrestling match like he said. So it's good that he did mention that. It's not going to be arm drags, drop kicks. There's just going to be some ass kicking. So Austin's out there in his jeans and a new t-shirt, which I spent some time trying to figure out what the fuck it said. It almost looked like it wasn't WWF produced, a produced shirt. It's kind of a mess. It's 3 skulls. It says the baddest SOP that ever lived in small font above the skulls. You can barely read it. So they would never sell a shirt where you can barely read the text. And then at the bottom it says, what the hell? Couldn't figure out the middle of it, and then it says jackass. So
I think a concert t-shirt.
Yeah, it's just a mess. So I don't think Austin will be wearing that again, but I'll keep my eye out for it. All right, so from there, Rikishi's trying to get away from Austin. He's getting into the crowd. Austin follows him, and Rikishi heads back. He's climbing up the steps at this point, and he's trying to get away from him. But he's going to try to make a comeback here. And he does it by starting off with grabbing a beer and just tossing it in Austin's face. And then they start to work their way back down the stairs to the floor. And Austin's going to take a back body drop. But as he's on his back and Rikishi's starting to get up, Austin is taking his belt off. And then he comes from behind and starts to whip the shit out of Rikishi with his belt. And then they find themselves back at ringside. And Austin goes underneath the ring. And he grabs a rope, like fucking Hangman Page rope.
Yeah, thick rope.
Right, like it's fucking Texas hanging. So Austin gets this rope, and he puts it around Rikishi's neck, and then he ties it to the ring ropes, and he starts choking out Rikishi with it. And then Austin just starts beating on him even more at that point. So he's choking there. He leaves Rikishi there as he's starting to clean off the Spanish announce booth, and Rikishi gets free from the ropes finally and tries to make a comeback, and he's going to kick Austin with one of his savant kicks, which is impressive for a guy that big to be able
Huge
to,
for a guy over 400 pounds.
Yeah, to do a kick
insane.
like
I can't kick like that.
So Rikishi does that, knocks him down. Rikishi goes to hit Austin with a chair shot after that, but Austin ducks it and then kicks Rikishi in the gut. Rikishi dropped the chair conveniently on the ring apron, so Austin grabs it from the ring apron and then nails him on the head. Rikishi gets busted open. And then a funny little spot here is Austin continues to swing at Rikishi, and they're at the announce booth. Austin takes off JR's hat and puts it on his head and starts swinging with the chair. Austin loses the hat rather quickly, but it would have been cool if he was able to keep the hat on for a while and continue to smash him and then even get into the truck because that's where they're heading at this point. Austin's going to get Rikishi closer to the truck, which is in the entranceway, and he's going to find Rikishi's sledgehammer. So he grabs the sledgehammer and swings at Rikishi, who has his head up against the door, and Rikishi ducks, and the sledgehammer goes right into the truck door. And he tries it again a couple times. And then Rikishi's crawling away to the back of the truck. And because Rikishi's so big, his back's up so high as he's on his knees, that Austin takes the tailgate and then slams it on Rikishi's back a couple of times. So Rikishi's getting fucked up in this match. That's basically what's going on here. It's a true beating. And Rikishi now is like in a daze at the back of the tailgate as the tailgate's down the bed of the truck. And Austin's going to grab the chair one more time and whack Rikishi on the head with it. And Rikishi rolls into the truck. Austin closes the tailgate, gets in the truck, grabs a beer, starts drinking a beer, and then backs up, and then drives out of the arena. And this is where things get crazy. So, Austin takes Rikishi out of the truck, beats him up some more, puts him up against kind of a small wall in the parking lot, and he gets back in his truck, he backs up, and he's ready to just crush Rikishi with his truck and just pin him against the wall and destroy him. This had to be a tough segment to film. Like they had to have, or maybe they recorded it earlier, but who knows? Because this is a fucking like Hollywood stunt. So Austin hits the gas, and then all of a sudden, a police car gets right in the way of Rikishi, and Austin nails the police car. But Austin, frustrated, backs up and slams into the police car again. So now this guy's committing crimes all over the place.
Yeah, what is that, like obstruction of justice, or even assaulting a police
Police officer.
weapon?
Yeah. So he's attempting murder on Rikishi. And now, because of the intentional hit to the police car, trying to assault an officer with a deadly weapon, which is what a car is. So yeah, that's what we got going on. But the one thing I didn't want to take note of the police car is it's such a fucking generic police car. It's called a Metro police car. Like, Metro police car is the generic name for cities in movies. Because there is no Metro. Like, even like New York, it's not the Metro Police. No. It's fucking New York Police. Metro's a generic
it's NYPD.
Name. Right. But that's what they use, so they got these movie police cars to use. Like they're from Die Hard or something. And even the license plate on the back just says police. And in the front it has like a car number, 325, 326. Fucking generic.
At least it doesn't say Policia. Like, oh shit, we got the
we got the Europeans
Spanish
here.
ones.
So you have Austin committing all these crimes, and the one I forgot is drinking and driving. It's another one. He has his beer.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
All right, so that's what happens. The match basically is a no contest. But what needs to be brought up is the fact that the whole build-up to this match was Mick said, it's no holds barred. Whatever you do, Austin, is going to be legal. So Austin, in his fucked up mind, thought that this would be legal. But what Mick Foley will be able to say, and he may even say it on the next episode of Raw, is that Austin left the arena. He went outside of the building. And since he went outside the building, it's not a no holds barred match anymore because it's not sanctioned. It's outside. You're in the public. So I just thought that would be good to point out because they might go in that direction. They could. Or the other thing is they'll totally fucking ignore that too. And just go, oh, okay, we move on. Austin's cleared of everything. And that didn't matter. But the whole buildup was based around that whole legal thing. Where whatever he does is legal. It's not legal if you leave the building and go out into the public and commit crimes and hit a police car. The police had nothing to do with the fucking match. Oh, it's a no-holds-barred match, but you can hit police cars if you want. Oh.
Yeah, if hitting a police car is like hitting a police officer.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's like hitting like a fucking horse cop, like the horse that a cop's on.
You're right. Yeah, the horse is a cop. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. The police are going to arrest Stone Cold. They put him in cuffs. They take him away. Rikishi gets put on a stretcher. He goes in an ambulance. Austin's truck eventually gets towed away. So, who knows where they're going from here? I guess it means more Rikishi Austin, possibly. They might go in another direction. We'll see in the weeks to come. But what does seem like it may be happening is that maybe they're trying to set up the heel turn for Austin. And we talked about this before he went away. That because of his interactions with Vince McMahon, where Vince McMahon was all buddy-buddy with him all of a sudden. And we did say, eventually by WrestleMania, that's when he's going to turn. So maybe they already had it in their mind that they wanted to create this kind of connection with Vince and Austin. Down the road, go that way. And now that he's back,
plant the seeds that they've swept some differences under the rug.
Yeah, and at this point, Vince is not really around either, so they have nothing to do with each other at this point. But maybe they still know that's the direction they wanted to go with Austin. So I'm starting to pick up some things that don't really seem like Austin. To me, Austin's coming off more annoying and a little pissy than usual. Because I get it, like he got hit by the car and he wants revenge. But the way he's been going about it the whole time, where he's questioning everybody and...
Well, he was getting the runaround, so I can't really blame him.
Yeah. I could agree with that, yeah.
Like the whole Mick Foley shit.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing your job. Like it goes back to the point where we felt like the feud probably should have been with
Mick Foley.
Right.
But if they're not really, thinking that way, because Mick Foley at this point, he's beloved. Austin's been gone. So it's an opportunity where he's been gone. So maybe after the initial, he's back, cool, that maybe there's other stars that you like at this point, that if he's fucking with them, you might reconsider Austin. You might be like, fuck you, Austin, you've been gone. I like Mick Foley. I like Triple H now, and Kurt Angle. So Austin could get annoying to people that if he's just jumping in and shitting all over them right away. And going back to that top spot.
Yeah, and they do get to use his him coming back as a reason to try and build another star in Rikishi.
Yeah,
see how another guy does in a big name spot with a marquee player.
Yep.
Because like you said, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head a few minutes back when you talk about how Vince always wanted this certain type of character, and that's essentially what Rikishi is, what he wanted Yokozuna to be.
Yeah.
Or trying to make Rikishi that.
Right.
Which obviously doesn't work out.
No, we know that now. Yep. All right, so that kind of wraps things up there, but there's one other thing with Rikishi that happens at the No Mercy pay-per-view, and he's going to interfere later in the Rock versus Kurt Angle match, which is a no DQ match for the WWF Championship. Rikishi's going to run out there to help The Rock. The Rock is not really happy with Rikishi, but Rikishi, bandaged up, all fucked up, he comes back and tries to help The Rock, but he's going to accidentally splash into The Rock. He's going to accidentally hit The Rock with the Savant kick. That's going to lead Angle to give the Olympic Slam to Rikishi, and then to The Rock, and then Kurt Angle wins the WWF Championship. So Rikishi, the one that's trying to help The Rock, kind of fucks things up for The Rock. So it's funny how it comes full circle like that. I did it for The Rock, and then right at the end, he screwed Rock out of the championship, man.
Fucked him over.
All right, so that's it for the Austin part. So we'll take a quick little break, and then we'll do a quick little Attitude Era recap. We'll be right back.
What's up, rattlesnakes? This is Alex Dorio, one half of the Talking Taker podcast. And even though Stone Cold might say DTA, don't trust anybody, We hope you'll trust us when we say if you love the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, you'll also enjoy what we're doing over on Talking Taker. Each week, my lifelong wrestling buddy and fellow creature of the night, Mr. Travis White, and I explore one pay-per-view match in the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. We're right in the heart of the Deadman's second coming in the late 2000s, but we've got over 125 episodes, so you can jump in from the beginning or pick and choose from some of your favorite moments, including every single Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match analyzed in detail, including a great crossover episode with our buddies here at the Bottom Line Cast. You can listen to us wherever podcasts are found, and you can follow along our journey at Talking Taker on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks to Mike and JV for letting us plug the show, and take her easy.
We're back for an Attitude Era update for October of 2000, leading to No Mercy. And the main storylines, besides Austin, what we just covered, is the Rock and Kurt Angle feud that's going on, the WWF Championship scene, along with the Love Triangle with Triple H, Stephanie, and Kurt Angle, and also Triple H dealing with Chris Benoit. So that's the big thing going on. So let's get into that. And basically what you have here, just, kind of sum it up. You don't need to go through every single little thing that has been going on, but what you have is the continuing thing where Kurt Angle, he's into Stephanie. That's pretty
big time.
apparent.
Stephanie's got him wrapped around her finger.
Yep. And Stephanie wants to help Triple H, be the big star. It's her husband. But Triple H is concerned about her safety all the time, so he doesn't want her really to be around the ring at all. So he says, Stephanie, you can't be around here anymore. And then Kurt Angle, who we just said, is into her, she takes advantage of Angle at this point and finds a way to, I'm going to be down ringside with you. And then she just goes on this little run where she helps Kurt win a series of matches. So that's kind of what's going on here at this point as we're building up to No Mercy.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the meantime, Triple H is kind of struggling.
Right. Triple H is...
So
exactly.
She's taking it as a point to say to Triple H, hey, you need me.
Right.
Look what I'm doing with Kurt Angle. It's almost like she gets to play Kurt Angle against Triple H, the jealous card.
Right. Yeah, because Chris Benoit is getting him in the crossface crippler a bunch of times. He's losing tag team matches. Yeah, and Stephanie's like, hey, Angle's winning. You're not winning. Basically, I'm the common denominator here. Let me help you. And that ultimately leads to what goes down at No Mercy is Triple H is going to have his match with Chris Benoit. And when it comes down to it, Stephanie is down there. Stephanie slaps Chris Benoit in the face in the final moments of the match, and that's when Triple H is able to get the pedigree on Benoit and win the match. So Stephanie helped him win. Even though he didn't want her down there, she ultimately helped him out in that situation. And then later in the night, as we just briefly covered at the end of the Austin segment, is that Kurt Angle, not only with the help of Stephanie, a little bit more so the help of Rikishi in the end there, but Kurt Angle becomes the WWF champion. So how much is that going to fucking sting Triple H that his wife now has the new champion?
Yeah, Kurt Angle has essentially skyrocketed to champion.
Which is great writing because now you have the tension between Triple H and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is a heel still. He's not over as a babyface.
No, he's definitely a heel.
Yeah. So
he's cocky.
Right, he's the shit. He's the funny shit heel.
He's always been a better heel.
Yeah. So he's the champ now, and Triple H is on this ascent to be a babyface. And now you're going to have that building up here. But you also have The Rock involved, so The Rock could even go back at Angle. So there's just so many opportunities to move on from this point. So this is Kurt Angle's first WWF Championship that he wins here at No Mercy. And a great little storyline. I loved it. And then from there, on the tag team title scene, it's another one that I liked. Another little storyline that I kind of forgot about, and then rewatching this is like, oh yeah, that was pretty funny. And this is Edge and Christian. It's the Conquistadors.
Yeah, that shit was funny. I caught some of this. Right when I saw them, I was like, oh, I forgot about this, and I know this is Edge and Christian.
Right. So Edge is uno, Christian's dos, conquistador. And all they do is say, sí, señor, sí, señor.
Like, who do you think that is? They're like, Ese Rios?
Yeah, they say Ese Rios all the time in sí, señor. So they have a series of matches. They're winning their matches. JR is always saying, that's Edge and Christian, blah, blah, blah. And, they're doing their shenanigans. They're winning matches. And they go into a number one contenders tag team battle royal. And it comes down to the Conquistadors and the Dudleys. The refs don't realize that the Conquistadors were actually eliminated, but the refs didn't see it, and Bubba's pissed off. And Edge and Christian come out later backstage, which is another nice little old school twist, is to have Edge and Christian show up and congratulate the Conquistadors backstage. Hey, good job, guys. Just to say, it's not us. It's not us. And then, so Conquistadors earned the number one contenders match. But moving on to No Mercy, there's a Dudley Boys Tag Team Invitational Tables match. So basically, all the other tag teams, the Dudley Boys, Lowdown, Godfather and Bull Buchanan from Right to Censor, Too Cool, and Taz and Raven, are all in this match. But Edge and Christian are not. Edge and Christian were supposed to be in this match, but they're claiming to be sick. Which is awesome, because the Conquistadors have a title match against the Hardy Boys later. So Edge and Christian are pretending to be sick because, they don't want to hurt themselves in this match. Because they got to get the title match later. So they pretend to be sick. That's pretty cool. And then later at No Mercy, Conquistadors actually beat the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys spent too much time trying to get that mask off the Conquistadors instead of actually trying to win the match.
Yeah.
And that leads to their downfall. And then later in the episode, Edge and Christian come down again backstage, congratulate the Conquistadors for winning the tag team titles, and then they say, we're going to challenge you on Raw for the tag team titles. So how great is that? Edge and Christian weren't supposed to get a title shot anymore. So they did this whole Conquistador shit. They won the titles as the Conquistadors. And now the next night in a row, they're just going to kick the shit out of two jobbers wearing Conquistador costumes and win the titles back. Cool shit.
Yeah, good writing there.
Yeah, and it was like a month storyline, so that's good.
Yep.
Then another great storyline going on at this point is Eddie Guerrero in China. And we're basically at the end of this point where China just broke up with Eddie Guerrero for cheating on her with the two girls, Mandy and Victoria, in the shower. Which was caught by GTV. So Eddie Guerrero is now pissed off at Billy Gunn because Billy Gunn's become like China's savior. It's her old friend from DX days. So Eddie attacks Billy Gunn with a crowbar on SmackDown from October 12th. And he's just totally jealous of their situation that they have going on. Eddie cuts a promo later on Raw from October 16th. Just pissed off at China, and he's gonna have a match later in that episode actually with Chris Jericho. He's gonna get injured, and I tried to find whether or not this injury was legit or not because it seemed like it might be, but it also could be story. But it seems more legit than story because all of a sudden Eddie Guerrero's just not wrestling. It's like, you want him to be wrestling. So he must be injured. he takes a monkey flip and lands like awkwardly on the back of his head and shoulders. But they keep saying his leg got sprained when this happened. So he was in a match with Jericho. He got injured there. And then Billy Gunn runs in awkwardly. And then X-Pac is down there too. And then they just never show Eddie again on camera. So it seemed like it was a legit injury. They were trying to just not show him and kind of have a distraction with Billy Gunn and X-Pac down in the ring. And that was an IC title match. Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho. And then from there, Eddie Guerrero is now on crutches the next week. And he basically finds himself out of his match at No Mercy. It was supposed to be Eddie Guerrero taking on Billy Gunn in China. And Eddie Guerrero gets replaced with Right to Censor. And Eddie Guerrero is going to interfere at the end of the match and hit China in the face with roses, which leads to Val Venus pinning China. So something going on with Eddie there. Just didn't get to see if it was a legit injury. I looked in the observers and there wasn't anything to say it.
Could it have happened at a house show?
Well, I think it happened actually in that match with Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho. But then they don't really... Nothing was really said about it in the Observer that I read. So I don't know if something happened there. But it seems like it because it just all of a sudden Eddie's not wrestling for 2 weeks. But still involved with this China angle. All right, and Jericho and X-Pac have a pretty cool match at No Mercy, steel cage match. I don't know if you checked this out when you were looking through No Mercy today.
I did not. I missed this one.
Now it's a good match. It's just I'm tired of this feud, Jericho and X-Pac, and I think this is the end of it. X-Pac at the end of the match, X-Pac is trying to climb out of the ring as Jericho is kind of crawling out, and X-Pac ends up falling, hit himself in the nuts on the gate. So as the gate's swinging, and X-Pac's trying to get out, he falls onto it, and then Jericho slides out of the ring and gets the win. So a nice little finish there. Creative finish. And the thing is, the match kind of means nothing. It's just an ongoing feud that's been going on for about 2 months.
Yeah, it's like a grudge.
Right, it's a grudge, no stakes, no nothing. It's just nothing for X-Pac to do. So put him with Jericho because he's a good worker and they work well together. But also at the same time, it's not helping Jericho do anything. It's nothing meaningful for Jericho. It's almost like the respect for X-Pac. Like, okay, you've been a good hand here for a while. We want you to be involved. We want you to have good matches. But he's not really elevating Jericho at all because Jericho's on his level.
They're both pretty stagnant, stale.
Yeah.
Not as characters, but just like in their growth through the rankings of the company.
Yep. All right, so the one last thing, and I only bring this up because this has my oh hell no moment within it. That's the European title scene. Okay, so William Regal is going to win the European title from Al Snow finally after weeks of watching his matches and being disgusted by Al Snow making fun of Europe and shit. So he ends up beating Al Snow rather easily on Raw from October 16th. And then he goes on to defend against Al Snow again a couple days later on SmackDown. He makes Al Snow tap out again. But then here comes my oh hell no. And it's at No Mercy where William Regal is going to defend his title against Naked Mideon, who I hadn't seen yet because he hasn't been on the Raws or SmackDowns within the last month or so. So I guess he's just been on Heat a bunch probably. But here he is in the pay-per-view, and Mideon is Naked Mideon. That's his gimmick. He strips his clothes off. This has got to be the same time as Jackass, right? Where Potty Boy.
Yeah.
2000.
Potty Boy.
Yeah,
that's right.
A Potty Boy would be like in a grocery store and just have the snap pants and just whip them off and have little underwear on, just bounce his nuts up and down. Right? Is that 2000?
No.
Had
yeah,
to be,
that's
right?
definitely it. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because we were in high school still.
Yeah. So that's Minion's gimmick, basically, is he's wearing like the Adidas Snap, and then about halfway through the match, he unsnaps him, and he has this thing over his nuts, and I don't think it's covering all his nuts because I think I seen the bottom of some nuts. But anyway, this thing is just bouncing around, and Regal's reaction is pretty funny. So that's the comedic part of it, is that Regal's like, he's too good to be in a match with this guy dressed the way he is. So that comes off pretty funny, but it's oh hell no for Naked Minion running around with just a ball sack bouncing around the ring. And his flat white ass, too. So, so that's oh hell no right there. And that kind of wraps up things here with the Attitude Era update. The highlight of what's been going on, I would say, is Kurt Angle is the WWF champion. And we have a nice little world title scene going on here. The upper card is awesome at this point. And even the mid card's pretty solid. But the main event scene is just over the top. So many stars. Kurt Angle, The Rock, Triple H, Austin.
The talent on the roster is just stacked.
Yeah. They got it going on at this point. All right, so let's wrap things up here. The bottom line wrap up. Okay, on the house show scene, Austin's not doing anything yet, but he will soon be on the house show, I think later in October and into November. Once he gets a little bit more healthy, he'll be out there. But let's go to the oh hell yeah moment of the week. Oh, hell yeah. JV, what do you got for oh hell yeah?
This was a tough one.
It is.
So I'm going to keep it Austin related. And let me go back here. I really liked the... this is tough. Tough.
For me, to jump in,
yeah,
I just like the promo where he got reinstated, where he just ran down like what he's gonna do to Rikishi now that he's back, and he gets his match. He accepts the no holds barred match. And that's probably the cool Austin moment of the week, is just coming back in and saying he's gonna kick the shit out of Rikishi. The match itself, whatever. I like I like the build up to the match and Austin's comments.
I liked the Rikishi promo that we covered when he's on the couch.
The interview, yeah.
Because no one really kind of you knew Rikishi more so as just a member of what the fuck were they called? Too Cool.
Yeah, Too Cool. Head Shrinkers.
Yeah, so I liked the promo in the sense that it kind of at least helped
build character for him.
Build character, and then also kind of elaborate more on the story, give him a chance to defend himself, reintroduce himself. And he's darker, so it kind of puts him over as more of a heel and more of a formidable opponent for Stone Cold. It wasn't the best promo, but I guess I more so just appreciate just going back to what I said earlier in this episode, where I hated this Rikishi reveal, but as an adult, I kind of appreciate it a little bit more because I understand like the social impact and what they're kind of, the race card that they're playing,
right. What they're going for.
Yeah, when I was 16, like again, I didn't really understand. I understood it, but I don't know. I knew what racism was,
right,
and I knew it existed in wrestling, but I didn't really I just kind of brushed it off like, oh, this is stupid. So, but as an adult, I enjoy the drama more, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, you don't, as a 16-year-old, don't fully understand the impact of racism unless you're experiencing racism, which we generally, we're not experiencing that.
I didn't experience racism.
Right, we don't experience that at 16 years old.
Yeah.
And even if you see it, you might not even notice it as a 16-year-old.
Right.
Or the, severity of it and the impact it has on society.
Yeah, so I'd hate to call it my hell yeah moment, but it is just because of the, I don't know. I think without that promo, I don't think this feud gets over as well. for me at least.
No,
Like the rest of what we've covered here.
I would agree with that.
The close two would be the Kurt Angle and Triple H match.
Yeah,
at No Mercy.
Right, that's hell of a match. But yeah, to stick with Austin, go with that. Like I said, for mine, it was to go with his promo where he gets reinstated.
Not when I say Triple H and Angle, I'm an idiot. It wasn't
Rock
Triple
and
H
Angle
at No
Rock and
Mercy.
Angle.
No, not even Rock and Angle. Triple H and Benoit.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that
if
was a
you
good
caught
match
that,
too.
but that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a hell of a match. Like I said, Stephanie helped him out there and got back into his good graces, possibly.
Oh, hell no!
All right, so let's move on to the oh hell no. We both alluded to ours earlier. So just to kind of recap mine, I just said it moments ago. Naked Minion. And yours was?
That line. Rikishi driving away in the truck.
Austin! This Sunday. No Mercy.
Chuck Norris movie line.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on from there. Next week. Okay, next week coming up, a little different. Okay. And our episode is going to be released on Monday next week. So we're kind of flip-flopping around with you guys. We go from Friday to a Wednesday, and now we're going to a Monday. But what's this Monday, JV?
316 day, bro.
It's 316 day. So last year on 316 day, we did a watch-along. And we did a watch-along poll. But this year, I said, screw the poll. I know exactly what I want to do. It's been requested not too long ago. It was actually requested in our Apple Podcast reviews. So I said, all right, this works perfectly. What better thing to do on Austin 316 Day than to relive King of the Ring 1996 and the infamous speech, the coronation speech, where Austin first says the line, Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. So we'll be watching all of the King of the Ring matches on next week's episode as watch-along style. And then we'll definitely listen to the coronation speech again as a celebration of Austin 316 Day, March 16th. So that'll be next week's episode. So nothing on Wednesday, just the Monday episode. And then we'll be back the following week with episode 66, in which we cover the end of October into November, the first week of November of 2000. So, sounds like a good plan. And the reason why I didn't put it on a poll, real reason why, is I didn't want people fucking around on Twitter. Because I really wanted to cover that. And I figured if I put it on a poll, they'd fucking pick something different. Like, I had the list of the things that I wanted to put on the poll. And one of the matches was Rikishi versus Austin from No Mercy. It was like, all right, it's current. We just talked about it. Maybe they want us to do watch along for it. And I was like, if that wins, that would suck. So I just want to do the King of the Ring 96. And like I said, nothing more fitting of a day to do that on is to do it on 316 Day. So we're finally going to do that. King of the Ring watch along matches, not only from the King of the Ring pay-per-view, but also from Raw, the preliminary rounds. We have a really good match against Bob Holly. So that's what's coming up next week. All right, so before we get out of here, just want to give some podcast plugs to Talking Taker, who you heard during our brief little break there. And this week they're covering Wrestlemania 24. It's the Undertaker versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship, in which Undertaker regains the championship in 2008. Also want to shout out Booking the Territory, the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast with Mike Mills, Hardbody Harper, and Doc Turner, where they are covering NWA World Championship Wrestling Saturday nights from this week, coming on Thursday, just tomorrow. They will be releasing November 12th, 1988. And every Sunday, they release the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Recap. And this week's episode is August 19th, 1995, which is episode 186 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. On our Vantage Point with Joe Murata and Michael Quinn, this week is episode 168. And in their influencers segment this season is the influence of wrestling videotapes on the business. And then it's week 4 of the worst managers And this week they're going to
Sounds
talk.
interesting.
Yeah, it's good
Sorry
shit.
to cut you off there, but that
the
one
wrestling
sounds really
videotapes.
interesting. Yeah. Because there's a lot of history to that.
Yeah, and just
And like the subculture within it.
Right, and I listened to that segment and just brought me back to like going to the video store and how that impacted my wrestling viewing back in the 90s, and that's what they talk about because they're our age. They're right around
just
our
like
age.
you said, knowing someone that has the tapes and
right, getting a hold of new matches that you never seen before. Like, oh, what the hell is going to happen here? Yeah, so definitely check that out, guys. So that's their first segment. Then they get into worst managers, and the two worst managers that were voted on that they discuss are Oliver Humperdinck and Sweet Sapphire. And then they also review. They always do a wrestling review, and they find some obscure shit. And this one is called Wild West Wrestling. I did not listen to that segment yet, but I don't know what the fuck Wild West Wrestling is, and I'm going to have to listen to that portion of the show to see what that is. I never heard of it. So that is, again, our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. On Free or Geek with our friend Jay Free. His most recent episode is episode 88, and it's called Clowning Around. And what he's doing there is covering Harley Quinn's new movie, Birds of Prey. And he's also doing a late review of the Joker. He says he was late to the scene on doing the Joker review. So now that Joaquin Phoenix has won the award, they do their review.
Is that released yet, or is that coming?
That's released. It's available.
Oh, I'll have to check that one out because I love that movie. So I hope Jay Free says everything I want to hear.
And then lastly, before we get out of here, I didn't mention this at the top like we usually do because I moved it to the back. It's Booking the Territory of the Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast. They have a Patreon, and JV and I are part of that Patreon. We do a show called the Extreme ECW Livecast, and this week, coming out today, is episode 20, in which we watch along to ECW Hardcore TV, which is available on the WWE Network, and we're up to episodes 42 and 43 from February 1st, February 8th of 1994. So we do this bi-weekly. Again, it's a Patreon, so you have to subscribe. It's $5 tier. It's not just us for $5. It's many other episodes of content that Booking the Territory put out there. A lot of good stuff, so it's worth checking out for a month. See if you like it. $5 when you really think about it for a month. It's not a whole lot.
It's nothing. It's
right.
$5.
Right. You probably spend $5 in a day and not even realize it.
Don't get your scratch tickets. Ditch a coffee for the fucking week.
Yeah, for 2 days, no coffee.
If you're buying the newspaper, just fucking stop.
Yeah.
There's the internet.
Why do you need to buy a newspaper?
Yeah. Like, fuck. $5. Give it a try.
Right. Just try for a month. You'll see all the shit that you're able to listen to.
Yeah.
So, check that out, and I think that's about it. So, JV, anything left for you to say?
No.
Or be
happy
like,
birthday, Chuck Norris.
Yes,
Yeah.
happy birthday, Chuck Norris. You jack motherfucker. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we'll be back next week with Austin 316 Day, and that is on Monday. Okay? That's Monday. And we can't wait to do it. And hope you enjoy it. So long.
And that's all I have to say about that.
You're the next one, then not with the kill. You don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Stop, no, I'll let you live a little bit with the pain that I'm bringing. No, it's only the beginning. Stop breaking the limit inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking the limit inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking the limit inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking the limit inside you. Stop running away, bring it on. let you live a little bit with the pain that I bring. You know it's only the beginning. Stop breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Don't run away, bring it on. Step off, 'cause you're the next one and I'm gonna kill you. Don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Step off, I'll let you live a little bit with the pain that I bring. You know it's only the beginning. Stop breaking, nothing in inside you. Stop making some more to hide you. I'm breaking, nothing in inside you. Don't run away, bring it on. Right down now. Step off, 'cause you're the next one and I'm gonna kill you. Don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Step off, I'll let you live a little bit with the pain that I bring. You know it's only the beginning. Step off, 'cause you're the next one and I'm gonna kill you. Don't believe it, but I'm betting that you will. Step off, I'll let you live a little bit with the pain that I bring. You know it's only the beginning.